But right around January 4th, it became clear that maybe he didn't put his hand on the Bible because he affirmatively rejects what's inside that book. And what's inside that book are limits on human behavior.
Hey, everybody. This is Troy over at Uncomfortable Truths. Thanks for checking me out. So we've got to talk about this because Donald Trump has now lost one of his greatest supporters, and that is Tucker Carlson. Now, Tucker's been really great on the anti-war issues, but now he's come out and insinuated that Donald Trump might actually be a demon. So that's what we have going on now. Let's take a look at what Tucker Carlson has to say here.
Didn't notice somehow that on Inauguration Day, the president did not take his oath of office with his hand on the Bible. His wife stood next to him holding it. I was about 15 feet away and saw it, but he did not put his hand on the Bible. And that should have been maybe a clue that we need to pause and think about, what is this? Why wouldn't you put your hand on the Bible? If you don't believe in the Bible, you think it's just a book, there's no cost to you to putting your hand on it, just kind of following the protocol, going along with the tradition. All presidents do it. Why aren't you doing it?
All right, so this whole thing where Tucker Carlson insinuates that Donald Trump might be a demon, yeah, that definitely seems pretty crazy at first. But keep in mind, guys, Tucker Carlson was one of the people that was out most loudly saying that you need to support Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to keep us out of these wars. He's clearly the best person for the office. Tucker is very much in line with a lot of Donald Trump's stated policies. But when Donald Trump started this attack on Venezuela, and then he started a war with Iran, and he hasn't kept any of his promises to pull us out of these wars, he's lost people like Tucker Carlson, who are genuinely honest journalists who are going out and asking hard questions for politicians. And so, yes, Tucker does come at this from a Christian perspective. But keep in mind, guys, Donald Trump also says that he's a Christian, especially after the assassination attempts where he was running around saying that he was saved by God. So for Donald Trump to refuse to put his hand on the Bible, which is something that really most anybody would do, whether you're religious or not, because it's kind of part of the ceremony, it's part of our culture, it's part of the history of the presidency, where that's something that we just do when we go into office. It's really odd that Trump wouldn't do that. And guys, I think that Tucker's got a good reason why.
And you're not doing it intentionally. You're choosing not to put your hand on the Bible when you take that oath. That suggests not that you don't believe it's real, because if you didn't believe it was real, why would you care? You'd put on the costume and take it off. It doesn't matter. That suggests you know it is real and you're rejecting it intentionally. You know what you're doing and you're doing it anyway.
All right, so Tucker thinks that the reason that Trump didn't put his hand on the Bible wasn't because he didn't believe in it, but because he does believe in the Bible and he is just publicly rejecting it as some sort of humiliation ritual. Now, it does seem a little weird to me that Tucker all of a sudden is bringing this up, because keep in mind, guys, Tucker was actually at the inauguration, and he does go on to talk a little bit about why he didn't do anything. He said that it was because at the time it seemed inappropriate to bring up this like weird thing that the president didn't put his hand on the Bible, but it's bothered him ever since. But what is interesting here is, why is Tucker and why are other people in the Republican Party starting to leave Trump now? Now, the issue on this is going to be that Tucker doesn't believe in theft. Take a look.
Our president, Donald Trump, held a widely publicized on-camera meeting with the heads of American oil companies and talked through how we're going to split up the natural resources of Venezuela and why this is great for America. So why should Christians have paused at exactly that moment and asked, can I still support this? Is this what I voted for? Is this what I want? Is this acceptable? And the reason is really simple, because Trump at that moment revealed that the motive was taking something that we wanted. And that's not acceptable for Christians. In fact, that's not acceptable for Americans or any civilized people, because taking other people's stuff by force cannot be allowed. In fact, preventing that is the basis of our legal code.
So the important thing here is that we see that a lot of the Trump allies are fleeing the ship, guys. There is no more room for people that don't want to just go into other countries and use force to take whatever we want, because this is not going to be useful for the American people. Because keep in mind, since Trump decided he was going to go kidnap the leader of Venezuela, oil has gone up. we don't have more production going on. We actually are now in a situation where we are seeing increased costs of gas, increased costs of diesel, which what that is going to do is it's going to raise prices for absolutely everything. We have Amazon now charging all of their merchants an extra 3% on every purchase to make up for those costs that they are seeing. Well, if you don't think that's going to go down to the people who are actually buying the products, you're out of your mind. Because what we're seeing is Trump completely wreck America on behalf of these foreign invasions. But what happens is those foreign invasions don't even end up helping actual Americans. So we're going around stealing resources from other countries, overthrowing their governments, and the American people still aren't seeing a benefit. So when Tucker goes out and says, yeah, it's just wrong to do these things, well, that is patently obvious. And while I'm not religious, if I was going to say that somebody was a demon, it would definitely be the person running around the world starting unnecessary wars that don't benefit anybody except a group of elites that all hung out on a dirty island together. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that is why Trump has refused to release those files and why we are going to continue seeing us do Israel's bidding. Because we have no interest in truth. We have no interest in protecting the world, because we right now have a president in office whose primary interest is defending people who are on Epstein's island and defending a country that is not our own, despite the fact that they are the aggressors. And that's the uncomfortable truth, guys. The people that voted for Donald Trump because they thought he was going to be some sort of peace candidate, we were 100% tricked, and he is not a peace candidate. He has done a horrible job leading this country, and he is going to continue dragging us into as many wars as we will allow him to drag us into. So we have to do everything we can to make sure that we are no longer supporting candidates like Trump and that we are fighting against him every chance that we get. So that's what we have for this one today. Do me a favor, hit like and subscribe, and go ahead and share the uncomfortable truths. Take care, everybody.